He wasn't supposed to look like that. I mean, roommates are supposed to be safe, ordinary guys you share rent with, not the kind of person who makes your lungs forget how to work the second they step out of the shower. When Ethan walked into our apartment that September evening, towel slung low on his hips and steam curling around his shoulders, it felt like someone had tilted the world sideways. My chest tightened, my throat dried, and every carefully built wall around my heart, the ones I had spent years stacking brick by brick, suddenly cracked. I never wanted a roommate. College was already brutal. Balancing late-night shifts at the diner, keeping up grades at NYU, and swallowing the loneliness that came with being the closeted son of a preacher in small-town Ohio. But rent in Manhattan doesn't care about your excuses. And when the ad for shared apartment, cheap rent, must be clean and quiet popped up, I had no choice. Ethan showed up with 2 duffel bags, a crooked grin, and an energy that filled the room before he even opened his mouth. He was the kind of guy who wore his confidence like a leather jacket, loud, easy, and intimidatingly natural. The complete opposite of me. And yet, I couldn't look away. The first week was chaos disguised as adjustment. Ethan cooked at odd hours, blasting old Springsteen records at full volume while I tried to study. He laughed too loud at sitcom reruns, left half-drunk cans of soda on the counter, and stole the blankets every night when we accidentally fell asleep watching TV on the couch. But then there were the quiet things. The way he hummed when he thought no one was listening. The way his eyes softened when I mentioned my mom's homemade pie, like he understood what it meant to miss a home you couldn't quite return to. And that night, that night when I woke up from a nightmare, chest heaving, and he just sat beside me, wordless, sliding a glass of water into my trembling hands like it was the most natural thing in the world. I told myself none of it mattered. I told myself I was imagining the way he lingered in doorways, the way his gaze held mine a fraction too long. But the truth was already spilling into the cracks I couldn't patch anymore. It all snapped the night of the storm. We'd lost power, the city swallowed by rain and sirens. Ethan lit a candle, its glow flickering across his bare shoulders as he leaned back against the couch. The storm howled against the windows, but the silence between us roared louder. "You ever feel like you're living someone else's life?" he asked suddenly, voice low, as though admitting a crime. I swallowed, throat dry. Every day. His laugh was sharp, but it didn't reach his eyes. He looked at me, then really looked, and something shifted in the space between us. Maybe it was the storm outside. Maybe it was the candlelight. Maybe it was just 2 lonely souls colliding at the wrong moment. But when he leaned forward, his forehead brushing mine, I didn't pull away. The kiss was hesitant at first, uncertain. Then it burned. My heart pounded so violently I thought it might break my ribs. His hands trembled against my jaw, mine fisted in his shirt, and it felt like years of silence finally exploded into one unbearable, perfect moment. When we broke apart, breathing hard, he whispered, "I shouldn't," but I kissed him again before he could finish. The next weeks were a blur of contradictions, laughter and stolen touches, fear and denial, nights tangled together in sheets, followed by mornings where he barely looked at me, retreating into silence as if ashamed of what we had done. I hated myself for wanting more. I hated him for giving me pieces of something he refused to name. And then came the day it all fell apart. I had been working late, trudging home through the bitter winter wind, only to find him packing. Bags half-zipped, jaw tight. "I can't do this, Alex," he said without looking at me. I froze. "Do what?" "This. Whatever the hell this is." He laughed bitterly. "You deserve someone who isn't screwed up. Someone who knows what the hell they want." Anger flared before the heartbreak could swallow me. "And what do you want, Ethan?" Silence. His hands stilled on the zipper. "That's what I thought," I whispered, voice breaking. He left before dawn. Winter dragged like punishment. I kept his half-empty soda cans on the counter longer than I should have, like proof he had been real. I wore his forgotten hoodie until the scent of him finally faded. And every time the shower steamed up, I swore I could still see him walking out, towel slung low, grin daring me to breathe. Life went on because it always does. I worked, I studied, I survived. But I never stopped waiting for a knock on the door that never came. It was spring when it finally happened. I had just gotten home from a brutal shift, the city blooming with cherry blossoms that felt like a cruel joke. And then I heard Ida knock. When I opened the door, Ethan stood there. No duffel bags this time. No crooked grin. Just him, raw and real, eyes red-rimmed like he hadn't slept in days. "I was an idiot," he said, voice shaking. "I thought leaving would make it easier, but it didn't. It made me realize the only place I felt like myself was with you." I wanted to scream at him. I wanted to slam the door. I wanted to remind him of every night I spent alone, cursing his name. But instead, I stepped aside. And when he kissed me, desperate, trembling, terrified, I kissed him back. Love isn't simple. It isn't neat or convenient. Sometimes it's the messy, impossible thing that breaks you apart before it stitches you whole again. Ethan and I still fight. He still steals the blankets. I still nag him about the soda cans. But now, when he walks out of the shower, steam curling around him, I don't lose my breath out of fear. I lose it because I know he's mine. And for the first time in my life, that's enough. Thank you for listening. Don't forget to like and subscribe to stay updated with the latest videos.